To our top story at this hour, the cost of living crisis looms here in the UK. The latest figures show more than 1 million children in the UK received food aid last year. Well, this is an increase of 300,000 over the last numbers released. Well, according to the UK's largest food bank, Trussell Trust Charity, nearly 3 million food parcels were distributed in the last 12 months, out of which more than 1.1 million went to children. The charity added that the number of emergency packages for children the previous year was just around 800,000. And in 2017 to 2018, the figure was less than 500,000. Well, the cost of living crisis took an ugly turn in the UK, largely after Russia invaded Ukraine. Well, food banks have become an integral part of life for many now, as an increasing cost and wage stagnation situation has pushed many to seek financial help. Well, the crisis has pushed several industry sectors toward industrial action or strikes. Well, these sectors, they range from doctors, nurses, teachers to dock workers and lawyers. The Trussell Trust has urged the Conservative government to increase welfare payments to a more realistic level so that they can at least cover essential costs. Well, the Conservative Party has drawn fresh criticism after its senior member Lee Anderson said that people struggling with rising prices should budget better and questioned whether food poverty is indeed real. Well, to discuss if it's real or not, we are joined now by Sarah Coles, who is the head of personal finance at Hargreaves Lansdown. So thank you so much indeed, joining us live from Bristol. So this is quite a depressing situation, isn't it? Knowing that these children need this aid in a country so wealthy as Britain.
Yes, it is really, really miserable looking at these figures. I mean, one of the big issues that we have is that families with children are particularly likely to be in poverty. And this has got an awful lot to do with the fact that they spend a lot more on their essential outgoings. So we do a piece of research, the Savings and Resilience Barometer, and we look at financial resilience and who's got the sort of strength to withstand sort of rising prices. And across the board, people with children, so that's couples with children and single people with children, are all struggling more than those without. And it's purely because they've got more mouths to feed and more people to keep warm. And as you said, inflation of those essentials has absolutely rocketed over the past year.
What can be done, Sarah? You're a professional in this domain. What would you suggest to help this rather dire situation?
Well, it's one of those, it is incredibly difficult question to face, because and it's something that I think Hugh Pill came up with yesterday. So he was sort of saying we're all just going to have to get used to it, purely because if we get pay rises, then that's going to feed into an inflationary spiral. So that is part of the concern from sort of those in government and those in the Bank of England. I think probably the overriding impact is for people who are receiving things like universal credit and on benefits. The big advantage for those people, and it won't have fed into the figures yet, is that they've had to wait such a long time for an inflationary based increase. So that 10.1% that they got in April, they've waited a whole year for, and the previous rise was less than 3%. So they've sort of been playing catch up. They've just got to the point where those payments are higher. So they're just at the point where it should be making a difference. The other good piece of news is that they're going to be getting an extra payment from the government. So anybody who's on universal credit will get a payment from the government of £301, which will come sometime between now and the middle of May. If you're on tax credits, it comes a little bit later, but it'll still come at the beginning of May. And that will make a bit of a difference. But I think by this stage, an awful lot of people, they're behind on bills, they're running into debt. So those sort of one-off cost of living payments, they're unlikely to make a huge difference. They're more likely to sort of help people sort of make some steps towards catching up. The thing that will make a difference is when these sort of slightly higher inflation-linked payments sort of feed through, on a continual basis. What I think makes a lot of sense is bringing together that sort of the inflationary increase. So we get it once a year. I think one of the issues is the inflation has been so high all year. There is an argument that these inflationary increases for things like benefits should be faster. It's similar, the same sort of goes for the state pension, that, we get a measure of inflation in September, we then get that implemented in April. There's an argument that these sort of updates should be more regular so that we don't get sort of a year of 10% inflation before finally getting an increase in benefits and state pensions for those who are the most vulnerable.